Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 355. Growth needs boundaries. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. So excited to be here today. I was walking through a park and there was a new sign and like some barricades up around this grassy area, and it said, "Taking care of your garden." And I was like, oh, they're replanting. And then I just paused and I looked at they're kind of like guard gates around this grassy area, and this little sentiment of taking care of your garden. And this is a public park. And it just immediately made me think about boundaries and how we need boundaries, especially when we are learning how to take care of ourselves, right? And pausing and reflecting and applying some tools to stop over drinking or taking a break from alcohol. And sometimes that's really hard to do if you are all over the place, right? So I think about this garden and, it's been a very busy summer season and lots of people have been trampling over the grass, and maybe there's some tending that needs to be done in this space and some growth that needs to, happen. And we need to let the ground recover from very busy, high traffic areas. And so they have these little guardrails up to let that happen and for the garden and this green space to be tended to. And you can't be tended to and for that growth to happen if people are trampling all over it, right? And so it's just a beautiful, beautiful metaphor about why it's important to step back from things seasonally. Even if you have figured out your relationship with alcohol, summer's over, we're here into the fall now. And maybe you had a really busy season and you were running here and there and everywhere. You did a lot of traveling, kids are home for the summer, whatever it was. And now it's like we're in a new season and things might feel like they're slowing down a little bit before the holiday season kicks in. So now would be a really good time to think about that. Like, what kind of guardrails can I put up right now to heal and recover and tend to my own garden, my internal garden, and let my resources come back and have some growth, right? If I don't change anything and I keep doing, I'm going to go right into the holiday season and keep doing again. And think about a garden or a public park, and they didn't put up those guardrails and they just let people trot all over it all year long, not being tended to. What that park is going to look like at the end of the year. There's probably going to be some bare patches. There's probably going to be some muddy spots. Maybe there's litter and trash. Maybe there's some broken plant life, right? It's going to look like a hot mess. And so that might be what you look like at the end of the year typically. Is this making sense? Is this metaphor catching on to you? So we're not supposed to just keep going and running ourselves ragged from the time we wake up until the time we go to bed. We're just not meant for that. We need tending. We need to put up guardrails to let ourselves recover and heal and rest and come back to ourselves, right? Let some of that growth happen internally. Let some healing happen internally. Get clear about some things, and then we can take our guardrails down for the next season, right? And be more active and whatnot. So I want you to think about that, the garden and the barricades and this very sweet sign that maybe you could incorporate into your life, which is taking care of your garden. How do you want to do that, right? We are nature. We're human beings. And like I said before, we're not meant to keep going. So are there people in your lives that might be trotting on you and taking too much from you, right? So when we think about the garden, people and visitors and traffic comes in, they're taking from the garden, right? They're using it. Maybe they're laying blankets on the grass. They're using this space somehow and they're taking things from it. So now it's time to give back, right? And we put the guardrails up and we let that area rest. So, what does that bring up for you? Do you recognize maybe that there's some people that are taking a little bit and we've got to put our guardrails up now to recover, right? So how can you think about that and communicate that to them, right? So maybe it's if you're taking care of an older family member or something like that, right? Or you're doing extra work for a family in need or something outside of your immediate family. It could sound like, I loved helping you this season. Now I need to tend to my own garden, or I need to get back to my regular routine and make sure that I have resources available, when you need me again in the future, or something like that, right? So that's perfectly acceptable and perfectly okay. I try not to put up boundaries when I'm feeling in the moment super stressed out or resentful or angry about something. This is more if you notice that you need to put up some guardrails. You think through that and you don't react in the moment to intense feelings or, high emotional loads, right? We want to recognize, okay, where does my garden need tending? Maybe make a list, maybe, identify those buckets in your life that I like to talk about and see where some guardrails might need to go up to tend to yourself, to let your inner garden become back online and to start flourishing again, right? So think about that. Are there people? What does work look like? Alcohol, right? Alcohol definitely is stealing from your garden, right? So that it's hard to recover and heal and figure it out when you're still trotting all over it with alcohol, right? So if you're still regularly drinking more than you want to, sometimes a break is good. Put those guardrails up. My boundary is I'm not going to drink for the next 30 days or whatever that looks like for you, so I can allow some regenerative things to happen in myself and to heal some of this and see clearly where I need to work, right? So a lot of times with the parks and the garden, going back to that analogy, we put the guardrails up and we can assess the situation, right? There's nobody in there walking around and using the space. We can go in and we can look, where do I need to do work here? What needs to happen here? What grass over here needs to be replanted? What flowers do we need for next season, right? And so when you can take a break from alcohol, you can do the same assessment, right? You can look at, where am I bleeding out? Where am I, need to recover? Or is this area of my life look good? How are my relationships looking? How is my physical activity looking? How is my health? And we can do an assessment and then make a plan to work on those areas over that time where the guardrails are up. And by the time that season is done, you will have a much, much more beautiful, nourished garden within you to be able to make better decisions about what is right for you in terms of your alcohol consumption. So that's really what I wanted to share today. It's just a different way of looking at boundaries and why they're important. I just love this little sign. I'm going to share it on my social media too, in the park with the little guardrails up. And I was like, oh, they're taking care of this space for us, And it's not like, oh, I can't use the space now, right? It's like, oh, they really care about their public spaces. So, and make them nice and protect them so that we can enjoy them more for longer periods of time. And when you put boundaries up for yourself, that's a nice way to think about it. It's not selfish. It's really so that you can be the best version of you for the people that matter the most and for the things that matter the most in your life. And we're not supposed to be the best version or this person that does everything all the time, all year long. It's just not realistic. And where that gets you is being resentful and overwhelmed and exhausted. And then we drink at the end of the day to deal with all of that, right? That that's not working. So my friends, I'd love to hear from you. How are you going to nourish your garden? How are you going to protect your garden and get back to sort of replanting what you need to replant in your life? I'd love to hear from you. All right. And if you are not signed up yet, if you are on my email list, you got an email last week about my big, bold move that I'm revealing next week on Friday. I'm going to link that URL up in the show notes where you can sign up and join me live on Friday. I think it's November 7th. It's at 11 a.m. It's the Big Bold Move live announcement. So you got to sign up for it if you want to be the first one to hear this announcement live about what's next for me and my business. And the people that join me live in that meeting on Zoom will have the first opportunity to sign up for this thing that I'm going to be talking about. And then I'm going to wait 24 hours. And then you can, if you've signed up to join the meeting, you can have 24 hours if you can't make it live to watch the replay. But then after 24 hours, I'm releasing this information to my full audience and the general public. So if you know that you're interested and that you want to be the first ones to know and take opportunity of that, because it's a very limited, exclusive opportunities, if you want to be the first one to know, then you got to sign up for that webinar. And I'm going to be revealing all the details then. So I'm going to link that up in the show notes. And it's super exciting, and it's been something I've been thinking about for a long time. And so it's finally happening. And I cannot wait to reveal what that is to you. All right, my friends, I hope you have a beautiful week, and we'll talk to you soon.